Good evening, everybody. We gather tonight at this time of autumn and invite you at home to join us in a spirit of gratitude and praise for God's goodness and bountifulness. This is the time of harvesting fruits, vegetables, and grains for human consumption. Mindful that it is the feast of St. Francis, and inspired by his wonderful appreciation and love of nature, we too rejoice in the Lord of creation and offer him gratitude for the fruits of the earth. We also gather in gratitude for what our Creator grows and produces within our interior land. Those virtues and positive qualities we have nurtured in our spirits. An abundance of fruitfulness resides among us. Let us draw encouragement from one another's harvest and rejoice in the maturation of the Holy One's love.
The whole earth is filled with awe at your wonders. Where morning dawns, where evening fades, you call forth songs of joy, care for the land and water it. You enrich it abundantly. The streams of God are filled with water to provide the people with grain, for so you have ordained it. You drench its furrows and level its ridges. You soften it with showers and bless its crops. You crown the year with your bounty, and your carts overflow with abundance. The grasslands of the wilderness overflow. The hills are clothed with gladness. The meadows are covered with flocks, and the valleys are mantled with grain. They shout for joy and sing.
A reading from the Gospel of St. Luke. A man in the crowd said to him, "Master, tell my brother to give me a share of our inheritance." "My friend," he replied, "who appointed me your judge or the arbitrator of your claims?" Then he said to them, "Watch and be on your guard against avarice of any kind. For a man's life is not made secure by what he owns, even when he has more than he needs." Then he told them a parable. There was once a rich man who, having had a good harvest from his land, thought to himself, "What am I to do? I have not enough room to store my crops." Then he said, "This is what I will do. I will pull down my barns and build bigger ones, and store all my grain and my goods in them. And I will say to my soul, 'My soul, you have plenty of good things laid by for many years to come. Take things easy, eat, drink, have a good time.' But God said to him, 'Fool, this very night the demand will be made for your soul. And this hoard of yours, whose will it be?' So it is when a man stores up treasure for himself in a place of making himself rich in the sight of God."
Prayers of the Faithful. For rain and sun and insects to pollinate crops, for farmers who work with nature and preserve the beauty and diversity of God's creation, and for wild creatures which enjoy the harvest of berries, nuts, grains and seeds.
We give thanks, O God.
For the soil, rich and precious, home to countless living creatures which maintain fertility and give us food and life.
We give thanks, O God.
For growing awareness that we all depend on the earth for our daily food and fuel, and for the increasing numbers of people who want to eat local food and have closer links with food producers.
We give thanks, O God.
For wisdom to live in ways that will slow down climate change and keep the rains falling in their due season.
We give thanks, O God.
For caution in manipulating the building blocks of life and transferring genes between species.
We give thanks, O God.
For grace to recognize we are part of God's creation with responsibilities to care for God's earth and our fellow creatures, including farm animals, both during their lives and in their deaths.
We give thanks, O God.
Bring peace to the killing fields of war. Turn scorched earth to green, so that people can sow their seeds and harvest their crops and live in harmony with their neighbours.
Lord, send forth your Spirit.
Bring justice to those crushed by debt, forced to grow cash crops for us to consume, tempted to waste fertile land, growing drugs and tobacco, and denied access to land for growing their own food.
Lord, send
Send us out into the world in service to God's creatures as disciples of Jesus, who blessed bread and wine at the Last Supper, bread which earth has given and human hands have made, and wine, fruit of the vine and work of human hands.
Lord, send forth your Spirit.
Prayer of transformation. Where there is consumption, let there be sacrifice. Where there is greed, let there be generosity. Where there is wastefulness, let there be a spirit of sharing. Grant that we may give rather than give up. May we gradually move away from what we want to what God's world needs. Free us from fear, greed, and compulsion. Help us to appreciate that the divine and the human meet in the slightest detail, in the seamless garment of God's creation, in the least speck of dust on the planet.
Listening to autumn. I am listening. I am listening to happy harvest cries, to hearts overflowing with thanksgiving, to tables laden with gifts from the earth, to baskets overflowing with fruit. I am listening to the beautiful gift of autumn. I am listening. Autumn calls us in from summer playground and asks significant questions about our own harvest. What do we need to gather into our spiritual barns? What in our lives needs to fall away like autumn leaves so another life waiting in the wings can have its turn to live?
Ode to Autumn by John Keats. Season of mists and mellow fruitfulness, close bosom friend of the maturing sun, conspiring with him how to load and bless with fruit the vines that round the thatch eaves run. to bend with apples the mossed cottage trees, and fill all fruit with ripeness to the core, to swell the gourd and plump the hazel shells with the sweet kernel, to set budding more and still more later flowers for the bees, until they think warm days will never cease, for summer has o'erbrimmed their clammy cells. Where are the songs of spring? Ah, where are they? Think not of them, thou hast thy music too. While barred cloud bloom the soft dying day, and touch the stubble plains with rosy hue. Then in a wailful choir the small gnats mourn among the river sallows, borne aloft, or sinking as the light wind lives or dies. And full-grown lambs loud bleat from hilly bourne. Hedge crickets sing, and now with treble soft the red breast whistles from a garden croft, and gathering swallows twitter in the skies.
A Thanksgiving Blessing by Joyce Rupp. May an abundance of gratitude burst forth as you reflect upon what you have received. May thanksgiving overflow in your heart and often be proclaimed in your prayer. May you gather around the table of your heart the ardent faithfulness, kindness, and goodness of each person who is true to you. May the harvest of your good actions bring forth plentiful fruit each day. May you discover a cache of hidden wisdom among the people and events that have brought you distress and sorrow. May your basket of blessings surprise you with its rich diversity of gifts and its opportunities of growth. May all that nourishes and resources your life bring you daily satisfaction and renewed hope. May you slow your hurried pace of life so that you can be aware of and enjoy what you too easily take for granted. May you always be open, willing, and ready to share your blessings with others. May you never forget the generous one who loves you lavishly and unconditionally.